Thank you. So I'm so happy to hear you guys are here today. Thank you so much for coming on this blustery day. So this is going to be three parts of our presentation. The first part will be also including the virtual people. And then after that, we're going to be going into a hands-on practice. And then the last one is a group activity. So this is going to be lots of fun. So, all right. And I promise you, I'm going to pull back the curtains on learning how to read a nutrition label because they're hiding so much insight. So let us start. Maybe. Okay. All right. So just a quick overview, before you begin. Maybe. All right. Come on. Anytime soon. Love it when technology is not right there with you. So not quite sure why it's not focusing. Interesting. There we go. It's finally loaded. It is, I just want to share with you, we're going to be showing this movie. It's called From Food to Freedom. This is going to be the movie. Hi. May 7th. Yep, good. We're May 7th at 7 o'clock at the Dennis Cinema. So if you want to come join us there, we'd love to have you. Save the date. Please come and join us. This is an amazing movie, how people can really reverse a lot of your health issues by going plant-based, changing your diet. It's not, I don't call it a diet, it's actually a lifestyle. Once you get into this lifestyle and you learn the power, what's at the end of your fork, it can heal so many things. It's incredible. And in the movie, they talk about two things. One is COVID and how that most of the people that died from COVID had a lot of underlying health issues, okay? And that the people that were plant-based went through it. I mean, yeah, they got sick. It's not to say you're not bulletproof. You can't, always be perfect. Thank you. All right, no problem. You're all good. All good. So we're just beginning. We're just jumping in. So welcome. So anyway, I just wanted to say to you that, what we're talking about today is basically here for informational purposes. And if you do decide to go plant-based, do connect with your doctors, because if you're on medications, most likely you're going to have to be taken off of your medications in most cases. Like, you can heal your body and in as little as 10 days. And the movie From Food to Freedom showcases how 6 people, type 2 diabetics, on insulin, many of them for decades, and in 10 days, were able to heal their bodies and get off their medications. So it's a very powerful movie. I've seen it already. It's mind-blowing. So anyway, I am not on my own computer, so sorry. All right. And this is just a little bit more about sorry. Just want to make sure I was on the right page. So, and they talk about this, the pandemic that we've experienced has ignored the single most important factor, and that's nutrition and a whole food plant-based lifestyle. They completely have said nothing. Wash your hands, put masks, social distancing. That's what we've been ingrained. Nothing about how the power of nutrition can help you. All right. My journey started with a trip to the emergency room, and I had over 105-degree fever. My blood pressure was off the charts. The doctor who took care of me was not only a medical doctor, but she was a nutritionist. This was like 15 years ago. So the woman, she was her own demographic, because most doctors are not trained in nutrition, which is just absolutely insane to me. That the one thing that runs our body, they're not trained in the fuel that runs our body. So it's just absolutely incredibly insane to me. So what is whole food plant-based? I just want to give a quick overview. You're eating foods that are minimally refined, preferably whole foods, ones that don't have labels. And we're going to be diving into these packages because they do make our life convenient on many levels, but we need to learn about them and how to be able to handle and understand if it's going to be something that's going to be healthy for us or not. Okay, so we're eating foods that are fruits, vegetables, starches. Yes, ladies, we can eat starches. I mean, seriously. Any of the keto, paleo people, whoa, they're really doing long-term damage to their body. In the short term, you will lose weight, but in the long term, you are doing irreparable damage to your body. Anyway, moving on. What it's not is This is my car when I win lotto. Okay. That's my first purchase. Is going to be that, and it's going to say the license plate is going to say eat plants. So you'll see me going down 6 in the blue blur that goes by. Kerosene, fantastic fuel. It runs jets. Does a great job. But if you put that kerosene in that car, I will cry because you're going to kill the engine. At least our body tries. God bless it. It tries to really help and absorb the nutrients from it, but it just doesn't work. Okay. At least the car has the better option to say, yeah, no, I'm not going to run. You just killed me. So anyway, moving on. Normally I do cooking demos, but not today. All right. So let's dive into this because this is what we're here for today, is we want to learn how to read labels because they're hiding things in plain sight from us. Okay. And I don't know if you understand or know about this, but we've recently had an update to the nutrition label. We gained some ground on the nutrition label, and we lost some very vital information on the nutrition label as well. So let's dive into that. So first step in learning to read a nutrition label is first of all, look at the ingredients. Step 1, if you don't recognize the ingredients, if you don't know what that chemical is for, put it back. Don't even go any further. Okay. Bottom line, that's step number 1. If it passes that test and you recognize everything else, then we go on to the next one. Okay. The next line, serving size is important. You look at a bag of something like granola. Okay. I adore granola. I adore them tremendously. Okay. But you look at the serving size, it's like a quarter of a cup. I'm sorry. I'm not eating a quarter of a cup. I'm eating the bag. Okay. Like these little bags that they come in, like they're this big. I'm like, yeah, that's my breakfast. Yeah. No, they're saying a serving size is a quarter of a cup. Stop it. Okay. Stop it. And there's some really good, you're going to learn about some great scams. Anyway, so serving size is the second part. You look at the serving size to make sure it's a realistic serving. Okay. Because if it's not, like that granola bag, you're going to multiply, like 4 servings in this bag. Stop it. I'm just going to pour the bag. So I have to multiply everything, all the numbers by 4. Okay. Fat content. Now this is where they lie. Okay. And I'm going to pull the curtains back on this one. This is a big one. Okay. And we're going to talk about how to calculate the fat content. Okay. Because they lie. I shouldn't say they lie. Let's just say I have yet to find out how, in all my research and all my years of doing this, how they calculate the amount of fat that's in that food. I have yet to find that out. I think they're making it up actually, but that's just me. So we look at the fat content. We want to really try and keep, if you are in a healthy state and you're not dealing with illness or other health issues, then 20% of your calories or 20% fat is good. If you are trying to heal your body, you want to get less than that. Okay. If you're an athlete, you want to get like 10%. Okay. You definitely want, for athletes or for young people that are dealing with, track, field, things like that are serious athletes, they want 10%. Okay. But for a normal human being, we want to try and keep 20%. Okay. Of whatever it is you're eating, to make sure it's 20% or lesser fat. Sodium is another big, huge problem. Okay. Because we have this balance between sodium and potassium. And it's called cellular transport, and it's how things get into and out of our cell. And if you look at the periodic table, you look at where sodium and potassium are, they're both in group 1A on the periodic table, meaning that they have similar properties, meaning that they have 1 electron in their outer shell, and it helps to get things in and out of our cell. But you've got to have this right ratio balance between potassium and sodium. And we are so way off because so much sodium is put into our foods right now. It's ridiculous. Okay. Absolutely 100% ridiculous. Right. So we're way too high on sodium and not enough potassium. Okay. And so if you go and look out, like I went to one of those restaurants where you can pick, I want this and this and this and this and this. And they had an app that you could go online, and thank goodness I looked at the app because I'm ridiculously salt sensitive. Now this was a place that had beans and they had rice and they had some salsa. And I'm like, this is great. This is really great. Okay. However, I said, if we eat here, thank goodness the line was long, because I said, if we should take this meal, if we eat this and just go to the emergency room parking lot, because that's where I'm going to go next. So it would have raised my blood pressure so ridiculously high in that one meal that was 2.5 times the daily nutritional requirement for sodium. I wouldn't eat that in a month. Never mind in one meal. I get blood pressure headaches, and I would have had the worst headache on this planet if I'd eaten that meal. Just absolutely insane the amount of salt that's in there. Okay. So when you go out to eat at a restaurant, and by the way, we are trying to begin it's called Plant-Based Cape Cod. Okay. If you go on Facebook, Plant-Based Cape Cod or the Green Nosh Cape Cod, either one of those. And if you guys are new, right, for this, have you been to any of my presentations? Okay. You know Joanne. Okay. So, okay. Never mind. So we're starting this campaign we're starting a restaurant campaign to get restaurants to offer whole food, plant-based, oil-free options. Okay. So that's what we're doing. We have a monthly meetup. As a matter of fact, we have a planning meeting coming up this week. And Anka here is also part of our planning meeting. So yay. So anyway, we've got lots of things coming up in our group, but we are starting this restaurant campaign to help restaurants to understand that there is a population out here that will come to your restaurants, okay, that will come and eat your foods, because there is people out here that support this, and our group is growing by the day. Our numbers are just every day increasing. So, okay, anyway, sodium. When you go to a restaurant, sodium and oil are going to be your biggest challenges, okay? Oil is not good for you on any level at all. Okay. And I discussed that in my previous lectures. So if you want to go back and learn about oil and why it is so unhealthy. What about my extra virgin olive oil? I don't care if it's pressed by virgins on the 7th solstice of the 7th month. It is not healthy for you in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Oil will clog and sludge your blood. And it will take, from the time you eat that oil, it'll take 10 to 12 hours for your body to emulsify that and break it down. Okay. By then you've eaten something else with oil. So your blood just continually sludged. Okay. So sodium and oil are going to be your biggest challenges when you eat out. Soup. Never, ever get a soup at a restaurant unless you know personally like who the chef is and how they made it, because that's one of the easiest ways that they cook with a lot of salt. And what happens is it breaks down into ions. So you lose the flavor. So you have to really put a lot of salt in there. So it's going to make you thirsty. It's going to hold a lot of fluids in your body, okay, which is not great. And it's going to raise your blood pressure on so many levels. Okay, last one is sugar. The nutrition label, the new nutrition label just got the amount of sugar for daily nutritional value added to their nutrition labels. Okay, just got that added. That was a win for us. Okay, because previously the sugar industry has been campaigning to not have you know how much sugar you're supposed to have on a given day, on any given level. Okay, so this was not a great, it was a loss for them. But now we know. So this is from the American Heart Association. They recommend 37.5 grams, that's 9 teaspoons in a day, a maximum for sugar. For women, 25 grams. Okay. And I just looked at, I think I left it at home because I was, with all these labels, I was going through my bag. I looked at this bag of marshmallows. One marshmallow was 22 grams of sugar. One marshmallow. I'm thinking back to how many times I made s'mores, back in the day, how many marshmallows I would eat. One marshmallow. I was just like, really? Wow. Okay. Like more than what you're supposed to have on a daily given basis for, anyway. There are 57 different names for sugar. So what they do, and on a nutritional label, it's from what is the most down to the least. Okay. And so what they do to make sure that sugar is not like the second or third ingredients, they break it apart into different types of sugar so that they still get the sweetness, but it's not high up there, and they put on weird sugars. So you're like, I don't know what that is. Okay. And you don't realize that it's a sugar. So it's a lot of smoke and mirrors is what they're doing for you. So the best thing, the best thing to do is let's practice. So this was a granola. Okay, so let's just say I recognize all the ingredients and we just passed the first test. All right, now let's look at this. The serving size is half a cup and there's 4 in this. I'm not going to eat a half a cup. I'm sorry. I'm going to eat at least a cup or more, right? I probably would eat the bag because that's like only 2 cups of, it's only 2 cups, that you're dealing with. Okay, so look at how many calories are in a half a cup. We've got 250. Now, this is the old label right here because they still have calories from fat. Okay, that was one of the things that got clipped from the transition to the new labels that we have. So that gives us a great window to show you how many calories. Just looking at that, if you take 130 calories from fat divided by 250 total calories, multiplied by 100 to get a percent, it is 52% fat. 52, they say it's 22% fat. No. And they say, somebody said to me, well, it's based upon the, a 2,000 calorie diet. Well, if I take 8% or 22% of that, I'm not going to get any of those numbers. So again, I don't know where they're getting this fat from and how they're calculating this. Okay. So if it's an old label, that's still there. And you can see like the sugars, it shows you right here, the sugars, 26 grams in a half a cup. So in that half a cup, we just learned for women, 25 grams of sugar. That's it right there for the day, ladies. You're done for sugar. Okay. So this is one of the biggest problems. So, and now, you notice over here, there's no nutritional value percentage. That's what that was the win for us, is we got the daily value percentage. Because if I said to you 26 grams before you came into here, before I just told you for a woman for a day is 25 grams, you wouldn't have no clue. You would just accept 26 grams, well, whatever. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. Yeah, that's a day amount of sugar. So, all right. So we need to then look at, once we do that, we look at the amount of fat. We did that. It's now 52% fat. Now, in this, we want to look at sodium. Now, we want a 1-to-1 ratio between calories. So 250 calories, I want to see 250 milligrams of sodium or less. Less is better, obviously. So 250 calories, there's 75 milligrams of sodium. Thumbs up in my book, okay? However, the sugars, 26 grams, putting that back on the shelf. Way too high in sugar, way too high, okay? So that's step 1. All right, let's go on to another example. Soda. I hope nobody in here is still drinking soda or even seltzers or even anything with bubbles in it, because that is extraordinarily acidic, okay? I'm just going to tell you right now. I mean, we're talking something so acidic, and if you know on the pH scale, pH is a measurement of how acid or basic something is. This is my bailiwick. I can't help it. I'm a chemistry teacher, so it slips out every once in a while. I can't help it, okay? So pH, we have scaled from 0 to 14. 7 is in the middle, it's neutral, okay? So the big difference, the big thing about the pH scale is not it's a level of going from like 7 to 6 as a factor of 1. It's a power of 10. It's a logarithmic scale. So going from 7 to 6 is a power of 10. 7 to 5 is a factor of 100. 7 to 4 is a factor of 1,000 times more acidic than the body should be handling. 7 to 3 is 10,000 times more acidic than the body should handle. 7 to 2 is 100,000 times more acidic, okay? So sodas like Coke, Pepsi, and this is something like a Coke, a dark soda. This is going to be somewhere about 2.3. So you're talking about something that's like 60, 70,000 times more acidic than the body should handle, okay? So if you are drinking a soda, your body has to alkalize that to make it not acidic before your body can handle it. So where's it going to do that? It's going to take it from your chemical stores. It's going to take calcium from your bones. It's going to take magnesium from your muscles. Do you ever wake up with that Charlie horse in your calf? Oh yeah, because you just sucked out magnesium from your muscles to alkalize whatever you had eaten that day. Okay. Or take sodium or potassium from your bloodstream, but you will alkalize that. You will. Because otherwise, that's what dying is. Dying is your body's inability to alkalize what it is, whatever it is. Your body can't do it anymore. And that's what dying is your body becomes very, very acidic. Your organs start to shut down, and that's what dying is. Okay. So anything with carbonated water, anything. I'm talking seltzers, Perrier, whatever, anything with bubbles in it is going to be extraordinarily acidic. Could be anywhere from 100 times more acidic to, we're talking almost 100,000 times acidic, depending upon what it is. Now, this soda in particular, we have high fructose corn syrup. What is wrong with high fructose corn syrup? Everything. Okay. Good. That's a good summation. What else you got? Because when high fructose corn syrup came out, the industry adored this. Why? I'm so glad you asked. It's cheap because it sweetens things much better, right? It's very, very sweet. They don't need as much. It can be worked in baking. It can be worked in liquids. You can have either way. All right. So here's the problem with that. There is only one organ in your body that can break that down. What is it? I'm sorry? I heard? The liver. Yes, ma'am. Nailed it. Okay. So only the liver can break down fructose or alcohol. Okay. So they started to see in children, because they were putting it in everything, high fructose corn syrup, in everything. You couldn't go down an aisle without, like a loaf of bread. You couldn't find a loaf of bread that didn't have high fructose corn syrup. It was really a challenge. Okay. And so then they started seeing teenagers with non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver because of the high fructose corn syrup. Now the pendulum has swung the other way. Instead of it being, oh, it's from nature, it's from fruit, we're sweetening from fruit. Now the pendulum is swung the other way. No high fructose corn syrup inside, so they're getting it. The industry is like, yeah, no, we can't use that. But we're the guinea pigs of this. We're the ones that are suffering. We're the ones having to deal with non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. We're the ones. Oops, we made an oops. Okay, but you just changed my health. Okay, so high fructose corn syrup, never, ever, ever do you want that in your sodas. Caramel color, what is that? Do you even know? No clue. I have tried. I have looked. It's not out there. I've called companies. They're like, oh, that's a secret. We don't let that out. That makes it even more like sketchy. Like, all right. Oh, here's the thing. Oh, it's proprietary information. Stop it. I can give that to an analytical chemist, and in 10 minutes, I can tell you exactly what's in that. Stop it. Can you just tell me what it? Oh, no, it's proprietary secret. Great. Phosphoric acid, yet another acid. The carbonated water turns into carbonic acid, okay, when mixed with water, which is what the base of soda is. So carbon dioxide mixed with water creates carbonic acid. They don't write carbonic acid, they write carbonated water because they don't want you to know, oh, it's another acid. Okay. Anyway, moving on. And then we have natural flavors. What is natural flavors? Again, you're not going to know. You're not going to know. And it's all chemicals, ladies. It's all chemicals. Okay. There's nothing natural about it. Okay. And caffeine. Caffeine has a half-life. What? Half-life. I always think of a half-life in terms of radioactive decay because I'm a chemistry teacher. I can't help it. All right. But half-life means basically how long does something take to actually break down in your system? Like 50%, right? Okay. So caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. You have a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, from that one cup of coffee you had at 8 o'clock in the morning, you still have 50% active caffeine stimulating your central nervous system. Okay. At 8 o'clock at night, 12 hours after you drank that cup of coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning, you still have 25% active caffeine stimulating your central nervous system at a time when you're trying to begin to power down and get ready for sleep. At 2 o'clock in the morning, 18 hours after you consume that cup of coffee, you still have 12.5% active caffeine stimulating your central nervous system when you're trying to sleep. Okay. So just an FYI about caffeine, right? So anyway, so those are, when you stop to look at the ingredients and look at to see exactly what's in there, this should never, ever be in your shopping cart. And I mean like seltzers, anything with carbonated water, anything, okay? Extremely acidic to your body, extremely damaging to your system, okay? That is not even to mention the sugar that's in there, okay? So let's look at, with serving size, reasonable, 1 can. Okay, I can live with 1 can. That's a reasonable serving size. Calories, 140. So we want 140 calories and we want to see 140 milligrams of sodium or less. Oh, we've got 45 milligrams. Okay, sodium's great. All right. And then we have sugar. 1 can, 39 grams. 1 can. Now, you'll notice, again, this is an old label. You'll notice that there's no percentage next to that. Okay, now there is on the new labels, right? But before this, 39 grams, that doesn't sound like much. Yeah, it's fine. No, that's more than you as ladies should have in a day in that 1 can of soda. Just saying, okay? So anyway, all right, let's look at another one. So this is potato chips. My Achilles heel is Cape Cod potato chips, just saying. I mean, and even to this day, I know how bad they are for me, but if a bowl magically appeared in front of me, I'd be diving in. Don't get between me and the bowl, you'll get hurt, okay? That's about the only thing that I cannot say no to. I just make sure that it's not in my path. It's not in my house. It doesn't come home. And, the only time that I have to deal with it is like at family occasions. Because like they know, they all adore them. And yeah. So I just make sure on those days that I bring other things that I think are as treats to me. And then I have something that I can dive into that's not going to hurt me as much as that. But that is one of my Achilles heels. So let's look at this. Well, it's potatoes, sunflower oil or corn oil, and some salt. Okay, I recognize all the ingredients. Minimal ingredients. It's good. All right. Calories from fat. This is an old label. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 1 ounce. It's like a little packages. Sorry. I know it's not very clear. So, so looking at calories is 150 calories. Calories from fat, 90. 90 calories from fat. Okay. All right. Multiply 90 divided by 150. That's 60%. They say it's 16% fat. Okay. Just saying. Yeah, no. We're going to break that down today. We're going to break that down. You're going to go, no. Yeah, I hate to break the news to you ladies. It's not good. All right. So 60% fat. What did we say we wanted in a serving size for us as under 20? Okay, 20 or under. For a normal human being, not dealing with health issues or weight issues, under 20. Okay, so 1 bag was 1 serving. Okay, all right, they have the little snack bags that you put in your kid's lunch. All right, let's look at sodium. Calories is 150, so we want 150 milligrams or less of sodium. Here we have 180, okay, milligrams of sodium. So the industry is starting to understand this, that we are catching on, okay? The industry is starting to do this. So what they're doing now is they're taking the salt and they're pulverizing it into much smaller pieces. And the reason they do that is that it increases the surface area of the salt. Salt comes in as a crystal. So they have increased the surface area of the salt so that it's going to hit your mouth with a lot more bang than it would having a higher amount of sodium. Okay, so excuse me for 1 second. My nose It's just, it's going from the cold, hot. It is a little warm in here too. Anyway, all right. So moving on. Sugars, 0. Oh, wonderful. I got something without sugar in it. Great. So the sodium, again, let me back up to the sodium. The sodium on this one is a little bit higher than we should have. You know, it's going to hit our system a little bit harder. Because you want less, it's a 1-to-1 ratio or less. Less, the better, obviously. So anyway, the big issues here is the oil and salt. The oil will sludge your blood. Do you know how sticky olive oil is on the outside of the bottle? That's exactly what it's doing to your red blood cells. Exactly what it's doing to your red blood cells. Okay. And when I say that, I've got some footage someplace in one of the previous lectures that I showed how the red blood cells, they've shown footage that as the blood flows normally, it's great. As soon as you ingest oil or high fats, your blood literally sludges down. It slows down to the point where it's almost stopped. And it's sludging your blood so bad that literally, like, we're losing like 80% function of our blood being able to flow. Okay. If your blood can't flow, Houston, we have a problem. And it will take 10 to 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours to break down that oil. By then, or fat, by then you've eaten something else with high amounts of oil and fat. Okay, so moving on. So obviously the biggest issues is going to be the oil and salt. All right, rice crackers, and these are great. And I've got the package here. Let me find them quickly. These are from Edward and Sons. And of course it's buried. Here we are. And this is one. They have quite a few varieties of these Edward and Sons. There's majority of them contain oil, but there are several that contain no oil and no salt. Okay, so Edward and Sons, and you can get these at Whole Foods. You know, I've seen them there. I look for the blue package. This is one with black sesame on it, and the sodium is pretty darn good on this. And this one does not have oil. Okay. So most of the other ones in this series or from this company do contain oil. All right. So these rice crackers are great because they have the crunch, right? They have 2 ingredients. So I can read the ingredients, and I know you can't read it. It's kind of small, but it's organic brown rice flour, organic white rice flour. That's it. That's it. Okay. Totals, calories from fat, 0, right? Sodium, no sodium, great. So no fat, no sugar, no salt. And they've got a great crunch, fantastic crunch. Correct. Because eating them is like eating a piece of paper, cardboard, right? So this is the perfect vehicle for my hummus, okay? This is the perfect vehicle for some dips, right? That you're going to be serving at a party. So this would be my replacement for chips and crackers, okay? This is a perfect one. The only problem with this, and we don't get into this too much today, is the caloric density. This is going to come in about, and I know we haven't talked about this, but the caloric density of fruits and vegetables ranges, like from vegetables, like maybe 180 to 250 calories a pound, right? Fruits and vegetables maybe a little bit above that range. When you get into something like this is so processed and so ground up that you can get and pack so much more into that once you're processing the foods, that we're talking now something about 1,400 calories a pound, okay? Most people don't think, they think, oh my God, it's only 60 calories. What's wrong with that? Okay, but we have to understand the concept of caloric density, okay? And these can be a trigger food for people, like for me, like I know, because I'm the first person to go, hi, I'm Jeanne Schumacher, I'm a food addict, okay? And I am, I totally am, 100%. I've learned how to get around it, and I've learned how to change my health. But, so this is not a main staple in my house, this is a treat. I consider this a treat, okay, for me. So let's look at coconut milk. this is one of the reasons why, if you ever look at a lot of Indian people from India, they are thin. We call it tofi. Thin on the outside, fat on the inside. And a lot of people from India have major issues with heart disease. And because their food, although they eat primarily whole food plant-based, for the most part, they will add, pieces of meat in there more for flavoring than anything else. But they use coconut milk in everything. Like a lot of dishes will have it. The coconut milk is high in saturated fats. Even though it's plant-based, it's very, very high in saturated fats. That's what's going to clog your arteries, ladies. That's what's going to clog your arteries. Okay. So we want to stay away from saturated fat. Any kind of fat, like when you cook bacon in the past and you take the bacon out and you let the bacon grease cool, it turns solid, right? So if you've ever opened up a can of coconut milk, there's this layer of fat on the top. That's the saturated fat. Okay. At room temperature, it's going to be a solid. Okay. So let's look at coconut milk ingredients. We've got filtered water, coconut cream. Okay. And we have second ingredient is cane sugar. And then we have some other chemicals in there basically to try and make it more nutritional, right? And then we add some sea salt, and then we have some natural flavors. Again, we don't know what that is, right? And then we have sunflower lecithin, which is a thickener, right? Locust bean gum, again, a thickener. And then gellan gum, again, a thickener. So we've got like 3 or 4 different thickeners in there. So again, in thickeners like those, like the gum bases, wire gum, things like that, xanthan gum, in really small amounts, fine, okay? But large amounts, and you're continually eating this again and again and again, like in Indian food, this is like a staple, like Chinese, Asian staple is rice. Staple for Indian people is coconut milk. So to get around this, what I do is I take almond milk and then I add some coconut extract to get the same flavor, right? Okay, so let's look at this. Calories, and again, this is an old label. Calories is 80. Calories from fat is 50. Okay, so you take 50 divided by 80, that is 62.5% fat and not good fat. Okay, just saying. And if you look down below, and I know it's hard to read, but it says saturated fat is, total fat is 5 grams. Saturated fat is 4.5 grams out of that 5. Yes, it is a lot. Yes, it is a lot. It's like almost like 90% fat. Yeah. So sodium, we have 80 calories. We want 80 milligrams of sodium or less. We have 35 milligrams in this. So excellent for the sodium. Sugar is 7 grams, in this container. So that's 1 cup of that. So sugar's not bad, okay, overall. However, the biggest issue is the saturated fat. Biggest issue by far. Okay. This is one of my personal faves. Okay. This is something that is 100% fat. 100% fat. And they have the balls to market it as fat-free. What? Really? That's some, how do we get that? Well, let's look at the serving size. I know it's hard to read. 1/4 of a second. I'm sorry, is that even humanly possible? Like my son, when we used in back in the day, my son would take that can and go, shh. Half a can gone in that spray. And they're saying the serving size is 1/4 of a second. Right. Good luck with that. I'm sorry. Seriously, that's some big balls. That is some big balls, okay? And they can get away with that because the serving size, they look at the serving size and how much that you're putting in compared to the whole container, okay? So it's less than whatever the level is for the, nutrition people. And so they can literally market it legally as fat-free. Something that is 100% fat, they're marketing it as fat-free. That one blows my mind. Now, extra virgin olive oil, I need you to understand this, is 4,000 calories a pound. So if you're still using oils in any way, shape, or form, please stop today, okay? There is absolutely no, and I tell you straight fact, no nutritional, zero nutritional value in oil, none. Your stomach doesn't understand it, digest it, okay? Because in terms of caloric density in your stomach, you have density stretch receptors in there. It won't trigger them. Your stomach doesn't understand. You've just eaten 800 calories. We used to go to this restaurant that back in the day with my daughter, and it was an Italian restaurant, and they came out with that dish of oil that had the infused, onion and garlic and peppers, and the bread was just a vehicle to scoop that oil up. And literally, you ate me personally. I'm not talking about you. Me, I just probably scarfed down 800 calories, if not more, if that like 1,000, and then went on to have a huge meal after that. And your stomach doesn't even understand that you just ingested 800,000 calories. It doesn't understand it, because otherwise it would be sending signals to your brain to shut down eating. It doesn't recognize it at all. Okay. This is my personal favorite. Absolute, nothing else tops this one. This is Miyoko cheese, and they do have a lot of plant-based cheeses now. Now, cheese never has been healthy, whether it was plant-based or not. It still tastes great, I'm not going to lie. And cheese is very addicting to you, because it has, especially the previous type of cheese made from cow's milk, because it's got a chemical called casomorphine. And when I say morphine, that's why. Morphine, it's addicting, okay? That's why when you see cheese, your brain goes, oh, I got to have some of that. You see that big cheese platter, and you go dive it in. Okay, don't do that, please. I'm just saying, it's one of the worst things ever, especially from dairy, okay? By far, cheese is one of the worst, okay? Now, we do have plant-based cheeses. Okay, well, the animals are going to be happy because, like, yeah, you're not hurting me to get this, to make this. That's a win for the animals. However, it is not a win for us, okay? It is not. So this is my personal favorite. Now, this does not have the calories from fat. This is a new label, okay? And it's a condensed label, not in the regular format, just because the package is kind of small, okay? So in order to convert, and so here, like, for example, they have total fat, it's 11 grams, right? We have to now convert that into calories of fat. To do that, you multiply by 9, okay? That converts it from grams to calories, fat calories, right? So without knowing the labels and anything else, we just need to know that we multiply that by 9, okay? Now, the total fat that they say on the label is 11 grams. So if we multiply that by 9, that's 99 calories from fat. The total calories is 90. I'm sorry, you can have more than 100%. So 99 calories from fat, which we take 11 and multiply by 9, right? Divided by 90 calories is 110% fat. What? Again, smoke and mirrors. I think they're making this up. I really do. I really do. So this one, this is my personal favorite. So, yeah. How can you have more calories? And I know you can't read this, but let me read you the ingredients. First ingredient, organic coconut oil. We just talked about coconut oil and how bad it is in terms of saturated fat. The second ingredient is filtered water. Okay, that's good. Yep. Third ingredient, organic sunflower oil, yet another oil. Okay. Then we have organic cashews, extremely high in fat. Okay. Organic sunflower, lecithin, again, a thickener, and then sea salt. So primarily, this is just fat, as indicated. Well, I wouldn't say it's over 100% fat, but they seem to think it is. But okay, whatever. But that's my personal favorite. Okay. All right. I'm going backwards. I don't know why, but okay, let's move it on. Let's try this again. All right, let's try one more. This is one of the things that's happening a lot in marketing, is they're using the word protein. Anything with protein on it sells, because, oh my God, we're gonna die if we don't have enough protein. And in reality, ladies, if you're consuming a lot of protein, if you're eating animal-based, you're getting far more protein than you possibly could need, okay? And here's the problem with that. Pop quiz. Do we store protein in our body? I see one head shaking, one no, and she is right. We do not store protein. So if I'm eating and consuming a lot of protein, it's going to be eliminated as waste. It's going to go through your liver, your kidneys, and it's going to be flushed out. And that's the problem, is when we consistently put a huge amount of stress on our kidneys, we're going to see kidney problems down the road. Okay? And I want you to take, the next time you go into CVS or Rite Aid or Walgreens, whatever your box store is, CVS, local pharmacy, whatever, there's a whole aisle that has grown. I remember it used to be just one little section. It's a whole aisle now, and that is adult diapers. It is not normal to be incontinent. It is not normal. We've been eating an excess amount of protein since the 1950s. 2 chickens in every pot, right? And protein has just, we've become obsessed with protein. And when people say to me, oh my God, where are you going to get, the standard question I get when, people know I'm plant-based, oh my God, where are you going to get your protein from? And it's like, do you even know how much protein you're supposed to have? And this is my response to them. Like, do you even know how much protein you're supposed to have in a given day? Well, no. Okay, then why are you worried about me? Protein is found in every plant. Every plant. That's where the animals get it from. We're just bypassing the middle moo, okay? And getting our protein from greens. Broccoli, 50% protein, just saying. Okay? It's a lot of protein out there. So this is one of the biggest selling things out there in terms of marketing is protein, okay? In big letters. You cannot trust anything on the front or back. You have to look at the label. I don't care what it says. Cannot trust it. The other big marketing piece right now is they're catching on to the plant-based movement. And you'll notice it says plant-powered, okay? The worst, and I should include this in some point, is Jimmy Dean just came out with a plant-powered sausage. I'm like, shut up. I mean, I do not associate any health benefits with Jimmy Dean. And on top of it, they market it as plant-powered or plant-based. And inside of that is egg whites and cheese. How can you say on one hand it's plant? So this, you really have to be smart about this. All right. So let's look at step 1. Let's look at the ingredients. All right. Wheat, modified wheat starch, pea protein, whole wheat flour, vital wheat gluten, vegetable shortening, wheat gluten isolate, sodium acid pyrophosphate, baking soda, distilled monoglyceride, caramel color, cellulose gum, distilled monoglycerides, sucralose, fumaric acid, and calcium propionate, and sorbic acid. Do we recognize those, ladies, as food? Put it back, okay? Put it back. Let's continue and look down and see. So we have, let me move this over here, sorry. Let's look at, so there's 6 servings in a container in the package that we saw. 1 tortilla is a serving size. Okay, I probably would have 2, most likely, if not more. But, okay, somewhat reasonable. Sodium, we want 1-to-1 ratio between calories and sodium. Okay, 70 calories, and you're looking at sodium, 300 milligrams, okay? So you're talking about 4 times the amount of sodium. And this is not just Taco Bell's. If you look at any wrap, tortilla, burrito, whatever wrap, they're all going to be like this, okay? Because they're going to have, in order to get that wrap to be flexible, they're going to have a lot of oil in there. And they usually have a lot of salt to give it flavor, okay? Because otherwise, it's like eating cardboard, okay? So the fat. Now, again, this is a new label, so there's no calories from fat. So we have to take our fat calories, so that's 3 grams, multiplied by 9. 9 is the magic number. So that's 27. Okay, that's 27 fat calories. We take 27 fat calories divided by 70, and we get 38.5% fat. So if you look at that, they say it's only 4% fat. Why? Why? Somebody said to me, well, if you look at it, it says right there at the bottom, and this is a percent of the 2,000 calorie daily diet. Okay, I took 4% of 2,000 calories. That's 80 calories. That's more calories than the whole thing is worth. So I honestly, I don't understand where they're getting that 8 grams from. I think they're making it up, but that's just me. I'm sure there's something, but I have yet to find it. I have yet to find it. So another thing we want to look at is carb to fiber ratio. And this is getting a little more deeper into it. We want a 5-to-1 ratio between carbs and fiber. Okay. So it has a 1.25 to 1, not quite the right fiber ratio. Fiber is so much more important than we ever knew. Okay. Fiber is what runs our gut biome. Our gut biome, you've got about 5 pounds of bacteria in your gut biome that live with you. And it's a very symbiotic relationship, meaning that they help you and you help them, okay? Because we don't digest fiber. We do not break it down in our system. They do, okay? That's their food. And if you're not giving them enough fiber, they're not going to be happy. And if they're not going to be happy, guess who else is not going to be happy? You. Okay, so you have 5 pounds of bacteria in your gut biome that you have to feed, and that has to be with fiber. If you're not eating a high fiber diet, you are not feeding them. Now, they will take that fiber, they will break it down into what's called short chain fatty acids. And guess who needs that? You do. Okay, so it's a very symbiotic relationship. So if you're not getting enough fiber in your diet, good fiber, I'm not talking about this crap fiber that's in this tortilla thing, okay? So you want a 5-to-1 ratio, right? So is this an okay product to have? No. Right away, first, it didn't even pass the first requirement. Put it back, right? All right, and this is the concept that I was talking about is caloric density. So let's get into a little bit about caloric density. This is the chart down below, and I know it's a little bit hard to read, but vegetables. This is, we're converting things. So if you look up here on this, we have in the serving size, 1 tortilla, right? There's 70 calories in 43 grams. So we don't use grams here in the United States. That's metric, okay? So we need to convert it to something that we do understand, and that's pounds. So I'm converting the 70 calories in this tortilla, right? 70 calories in 43 grams. I'm converting it, and the conversion factor for that is there's 454 grams in 1 pound, okay? That comes out to be 734 calories a pound. Now, let's look at our caloric density. Vegetables range from 60 to 195. Fruit, 140 to 420, okay? Potatoes, pasta, rice, barley, yams, corn, hot cereals, between 320 to 630 calories a pound, right? Beans, peas, lentils, things like that, range from 310 calories a pound to 780. You really want to try and keep, on average, all of your food between 500 to 600 calories a pound, like for everything averaged together, okay? So you want to stay below this line, like anything below that is great. Then you start getting into breads, bagels, fat-free muffins, dried fruit. Well, isn't fruit good for you? The problem is when you dry fruit, you suck out all the water. The water is what helps to dilute the calories. When you suck out the water, you're concentrating it, and it becomes very, very dense and high caloric density, okay? So when you start to look at these things like breads, bagels, when you start to grind up the flour and you increase the surface area, you're going to increase the amount of calories per pound, okay? Sugars, honey, molasses, agave, corn syrup, anywhere from there is going into 1,200 to 1,800 calories a pound. Dry cereals, baked chips, okay, for the baked chip lady back there, all right? Fat-free crackers, pretzels. Pretzels you think are pretty good? Yeah, no. They are not good at all in any way, shape, or form. Sorry, I hate to break that bubble to you, but pretzels are one of the worst things you could possibly buy. So just saying. They come in between 1,400 to 1,700 calories a pound. And you think, how bad could this be? You know, air pop popcorn, ladies, air popped popcorn. We're talking in that same range, like 1,500 calories a pound. Okay. But do we just eat 1 cup of popcorn? Yep. But it's a trigger food. It is. And you're going to eat a whole big bowl of it. That is true. Salt and butter. Yeah, no, that's not helping you either. So that's going to even raise a much higher caloric density, you know, when you do that. Nuts and seeds are 2,400 to 3,200 calories a pound. Nuts in particular are extremely dangerous. They're very good in terms of micronutrients, but we've gotten to the point where we can go to Trader Joe's and I can get a big bag of cashews and I can sit there and pop those babies. I'll walk by, pick up another handful, crunch, munch, munch, and then walk away. And then I'll come back 2 minutes later and I'll be grabbing another handful, munch, 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 as I'm preparing and cooking other things. By the time I know it, half the bag's gone. Right? We can do that. Back in the day, we couldn't do that. My mother would buy a 5-pound bag of nuts in their shell at Christmas and put it out on the coffee table with the nutcrackers and the seed pickers and stuff like that. And, you know, you'd crack like 3 walnuts and you're like, we're done here. The Brazil nuts always were the last ones because you needed a vise, you know, a chainsaw to get through those, right? So that was the last. But otherwise, you wouldn't eat nuts, you know? And back in nature, think about it. I knew where every nut tree was in our neighborhood. And I would go and collect the nuts in the fall, and we'd have this big bag of them. And then you'd sit in the street with a rock and crack them open. And by the, you know, after 3 hours, you had enough to eat for a handful. You know, that was it. But now today, we can pop over to Trader Joe's and get any kind of nut you want. It's very dangerous opening those bags, just saying. So yeah, caloric density, this is pretty high caloric density. So again, it's not something that you want to keep on. Now, Trader Joe's has a tortilla that has 3 ingredients: white corn, water, and lime. That's it. Okay. So let's look at that. First of all, I recognize all the ingredients. And it says a serving size is 2 tortillas. I'm sorry, my bad. Serving size is 2 tortillas. Okay, not bad. And especially because I can take, now, honestly, I'm truthful. I'm always truthful. Those things, you take it out of the package and you eat them, I'd rather eat cardboard. I mean, they have like, the flavor is awful. However, something magical happens in the toaster oven. And I cut them up into little triangles. I take a circle and cut them into triangles. Now I have chips. Okay, that I can use for my bean dip or my hummus without guilt. And I can have chips. Oh my God, so good. Now, for me, this is a win. There's no sodium in this, none. So that's like, yay for me, because I really am salt sensitive. So again, this is a new label. This is 110 calories. Now, they don't have the fat calories, so we have to calculate that. So you take 1.5 grams of fat, multiply it by 9, okay? And that gets us 13.5 fat calories. Divided by 110 calories, that's 12.3% fat. Score, okay? 3 ingredients, is this okay to have? Okay, well, let's look at the caloric density on this. Converting that from calories per gram to calories per pound, that's almost 1,000 calories a pound, okay? So again, for somebody who is trying to lose weight, not a great choice, you know, for snack. However, for somebody who's an athlete or not trying to deal with weight issues or problems or reverse their health, this is a wonderful snack, okay? But again, high caloric density. I still have weight to lose, okay? I'm still working on it. Ladies, it's a journey. It's a work in progress. I mean, considering that I've lost over 100 pounds and I've kept it off. I've never had a diet work for me, ever. And this is effortless. Like, I don't count portions. There's no portion control. I eat. And honey, let me tell you, I can eat. Anka can verify that, right? I love to eat, okay? I am a food addict, but I've learned to eat foods that are not going to, it's either going to help you or hurt you. There's nothing in between, okay? All right. So the other issue is that is very concerning is there's three main crops, wheat, soy, and corn, that are genetically modified, okay? Trader Joe's does not, this is their policy, anything that is a Trader Joe product, has a Trader Joe label, they do not allow genetically modified products. That is their company policy. So even though it's not organic, because almost all my products are organic that I buy, I'm okay with this one not being organic because I know it comes from Trader Joe's. I would only get this from Trader Joe's because I know that's their company policy, is no genetically modified materials. Okay, so this could be a trigger food, okay, for people that are trying to lose weight. It can be a trigger food easily. So, all right. They have from the Environmental Working Group, this is a new scale that they have to rate foods. So that Mission Bell, that Taco Mission Bell one, came out a 6 out of 10, 10 being the worst, okay? And they tell you, nutrition concern, ingredient concern, processing concern, what the issues are. So you can go on EWG, that's environmentalworkinggroup.org. They have this app now that you can go and look at your food, okay, and see what it's rated as. Great. There's another app called Yuka, which not only measures food and gives it a rating, but personal care products as well. And they rate it on a scale of 0 to 100. Okay, so that's a free app that you can download on your phone, that you take a picture of the barcode and then it rates it. Okay, so that is a great app to have. All right. And by the way, if you're looking for products, that are toxic free, I just have to throw out there that this company that I found meets my standards. I have been studying chemistry. I teach chemistry. But I've been studying environmental chemistry and the toxins that we are putting. There's literally anything that goes on your skin in literally 26 seconds is in your bloodstream, okay? Things like, for example, parabens. Parabens are in everything, like so many personal care products. And the parabens are like a chemical family. Like there's methylparaben, butylparaben, propylparaben. It doesn't matter. They're all bad, okay? So if you see anything with the ending paraben, you really want to put that, not even touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm not kidding. So here's what's going to happen. The parabens are bioaccumulative in your system, and that means it's going to stay there, and it's going to build up, and it's going to have some impact on your female reproductive system, okay? Somewhere, whatever the weakest link is on your chain, and most likely it's going to be breast cancer, okay? When you get breast cancer, you're given a drug called tamoxifen. Tamoxifen does not work in the presence of parabens. So if you're using any products with parabens and you're dealing with breast cancer, most likely that it's not going to work because it's blocking the effectiveness of that drug, okay? And they don't tell you this. And I've dealt with quite a few people dealing with breast cancer, okay? And they don't tell you. They don't talk about nutrition. They don't talk about the chemicals. They just put you on the medical treadmill. Don't ask questions, just do it, okay? So these products meet my standards for being 100% toxic free. If you're interested and want to learn more about them, you can message me, contact me, send up a smoke signal, whatever. There is a sign-up sheet over here. You want to put your name, email, and cell phone. I don't call you unless I can't read something, like your address, your email address, whatever. So I don't call you. If you want to put your cell phone there, it's just there in case I can't read it so that I can, get you on my email list. We have again, I just send out letting you know about events coming up, stuff like that. I don't sell your address. It's just me. Okay. This is just me. Anyway, if you're interested in that, I also do a webinar on environmental toxins and especially in personal care products. So if you'd like to do that in your home and invite your friends over, I'll blow you guys away with it's amazing. Anyway, so it's time now to practice. And for you, those of you at home, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to join us because this is a hands-on part. So we are done with our presentation for this part of the segment, okay?